Hello everyone, Ember here, and welcome back to a new video. So, as you've probably guessed, if you're pretty familiar with the channel at this point, basically I have still got the same error code popping up whenever I try to log into TCG Live. And so basically this video is just going to be me talking through the options for the channel moving forward and what the best way of going about it is, basically. So I see two paths ahead of me right now. The first path is that basically TCG Live, the developers, I should say, fix this error and they release some sort of universal patch to fix most of the bugs. There seems to be an awful lot of bugs with the Paradox Rift update. So hopefully, they could release a patch within the next, week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, hopefully, at the latest. And that's one path. And honestly, if they would to do that, then of course I would be fine with it because it would mean get to play the game again. And, that's cool and want to do that. So yeah, that would be, I guess, best case scenario. Unless, obviously best case scenario is they suddenly announce a patch tonight and then it's resolved. But, we have to be a bit more realistic here. And I think that's path one, basically, is they release a patch within the next few weeks. Now, path two is that they release a patch for this issue when they release the update on January 26th. So we currently don't have a name for this set, but basically there is going to be an international special set, Scarlet Violet 4.5, as it's being dubbed right now until it gets a proper name. And this is going to be a shiny set. It's just going to feature like a bunch of reprints, but in shiny form. So it's great if you want a bit of a rarity upgrade, I guess, for your deck. But more so is the point. Basically, this will release on January 26th. So if it's path 2, and then it's essentially worst case scenario, then they fix it by January 26th. Now, there is workarounds around this. Like the pessimist in me was extremely nervous of the thought of, having to make content without TCG Live until the end of January. But I did map out a bunch of videos that I could make, and as long as I was, patient with releasing them, aka not every 3 days, once, maybe even twice a week potentially, but pretty infrequent uploads, then it would probably be possible to basically just keep content going until the end of January. And to be fair, because it's a special set, there's nothing like new being added, so I wouldn't feel too out of place releasing a bunch of Paradox Rift videos if when we got to there, because to be honest, there won't be like any new decks really to make from this set. It's just all going to be reprint stuff really, apart from the occasional new card. So it wouldn't felt like too out of place just to release new content once we got to this update. But it is another issue of kind of like just morale with the game, because what happens if it's waiting until the end of January, so we've got all of the rest of November, all of December, and then basically all of January without playing TCG Live, without progressing in the game. And yeah, that's kind of like a bit of an ask, to be honest, because yeah, I don't particularly like playing on TCG Live, but it's currently the only way I can play the game. I can't attend any local leagues near me. I can't play IRL with other people, so all I have is the online version. Like it or not, basically, obviously if we'd been still with TCG, I wouldn't have this problem. But of course, it's TCG Live. Of course, it's going to be bugs. And it also poses another question for morale, which is why should I invest time and a lot of effort into a game when there's potentially just going to be a new bug in a set that basically just locks you out the game and you can't play for weeks on end or potentially months on end? Because apparently, I didn't know this until recently, but apparently some of the people that had that login error code that they had to patch out almost immediately because there was so much feedback about it, the 10999 code error code thing, that had been going on for months. There were some people who couldn't load into the game for months. Like we're talking 5 plus 6 months there. And if that's going to be the case here, I'm just going to drop the game. Like I'm not going to wait that long to play the game again. It's a wee bit silly. It's very frustrating. And it's like TCG Live is already so much of a grind. I have seen some people say if you revoke your access to your account on the main website, then you can create a new account and just do that, and it works perfectly fine. But if you do that, you do run the risk of losing all your data on the first account and basically not being able to ever get it back. And as someone who put a lot of time into getting, expanded cards. I played all throughout the Sun and Moon era online, so by the time my account was ready to migrate, I had basically everything I could ever need or want. So a lot of cards, also a lot of XY cards, black and white cards, not including all the celebration stuff I got, so I'd have to restart from scratch on that front. Honestly, the thought of like having to start again basically from the ground up is brutal to say the least. And I think that is like, well, that's not really worst case scenario. Worst case scenario is never being able to get back onto the game ever again. But the thought of just having to do everything again is pretty off-putting, especially just how much of a grind TC Live can be to get new stuff. And as it stands, I don't mind being a bit behind. Like I think the last time I checked on TCG Live, I was only at 2,000 credits or something, which isn't nearly enough for a new set, of course. But I was prepared to put in the hours, put in the grind, get back up to a reasonable amount of credits, like 10k plus, in order to continue with the content and make new decks. And it is a bit disheartening, to be honest, seeing everyone else have access to these cool cards and these cool archetypes, and I can't do anything. It's really annoying. So yeah, I'm not sure where the channel is going. I know this is like the main point of the video, but basically I'm going to keep an eye on the updates, of course, daily. I'll keep checking and seeing if they're going to release a patch at some point. I have seen that other people do have this problem. I've been around on various social media platforms, including the forums as well. So this isn't just exclusively an issue with my computer or whatever. This is something that everyone is, well, not everyone, but a chunk of the player base is facing. And that's bad, obviously, because it means a lot of people can't play the game. But the only positive thing about it, and it is a positive, is that if enough people say that they have it, then it might mean that developers see that and they go, wait, there's actually a ton of people who've updated to play the latest update in the game and can't even load the game. It's ridiculous. You would think, if you update the game and several players can't even get into the game after that, this should be a problem that's easily resolved and fixed quickly, but that's obviously not the case. It's now the 12th of November. It's been going on since the 3rd. So yeah, it's pretty brutal. Obviously, as a content creator, this is going to hurt the channel in a massive way. I released a video that wasn't supposed to be released at all. It was an Onyx video. I didn't even do commentary for it. It was the one that's supposed to release in 151. And because it was a 151 video and because it was Onyx, the video is currently sitting at 30 views after several days. Like, this will hurt the channel in a massive way. And I know that deck profile is pulling a lot of people and I want to do that kind of thing, but it's obviously a lot more difficult without live. So yeah, the channel is going to be a bit different moving forward. I might try a very experimental video with a very different game, which you'll hopefully see next week at some point. But aside from that, I'm just hope that they release a patch for this soon. I really don't want to have to wait until January to play this game again. I probably would still play it, but not nearly as much, and the content would, of course, start to dwindle quite a bit because aside from this special set, there's not going to be anything new revealed until like early January for when like Japan starts to get their other sets again, because this one's releasing in December and then like mid-January, I think, they get the next future sets, so Paradox sets, ancient and future, I should say. So that'll be fun to look at and review, but that's just not enough content, between now and what is essentially going to be the best part of 3 months. I thought it was 2 months, but no, it is really just 3 months worth of content I've got to pad out now. So yeah, it's super frustrating. I'm obviously extremely, like, one side of me is, okay, this is maybe good for me. I can take a break. I can focus my efforts on, more unique content maybe. But the pessimist side of me is extremely frustrated with TCG Live. I'm reluctant to take it out on the developers because part of me still thinks they were not given enough time or money to make this game. And I think they never should have been told to make the game ready until it was ready. And that TCGO was, never should have been abandoned. Maybe they're out of their depth. Maybe they took on something they knew they couldn't take on and it's all been a mess from the start. I don't know the full story. And, until we know all the facts, I don't think it's worth, taking a side until we know everything, basically. But yeah, Channel is going to be a bit strange. I'm obviously, very frustrated out of all of this, of course, but hopefully this is an issue that is resolved quickly. Of course, however, if you have any ideas for content online, then do, of course, let me know. I'll stick with the new set reveals. Unfortunately, it does look like we're just going to get daily reveals for Shiny Treasure, even though they're all just going to be reprints, which kind of sucks. Hopefully, we get some more unique cards soon, but yeah, it's been our power. I don't think there's anything else to mention. So, yeah, hopefully this is resolved quickly, and thank you for watching.